A mother is meant to be a child's safe haven, but what happens when this haven turns into hell? On June 6, 1996, 911 operators in Rowlett, Texas received a call from the Routier house that left everyone shivering with fear. According to the caller, Darlie, someone had broken into their home and stabbed her 5- and 6-year-old sons to their deaths, and she had also been injured. It was a mother's worst nightmare. Or was it? As investigators delved deeper, evidence began to unveil a different narrative. What was the real truth behind this tragedy? And how did Darlie find herself behind bars? This is the harrowing story of Darlie Lynn Routier. In their 20s, Darlie and her husband Darren were living what many would call the American dream. They had a beautiful home in a suburban neighborhood and were parents to 3 children. Their residence was at the end of Eagle Drive in Rowlett, Texas, an affluent suburb located 20 miles east of downtown Dallas. It was the place where children could enjoy safety and the freedom to explore. The Routier family appeared to be living a content life until a shocking and horrifying crime shattered their world and sent shockwaves throughout Dallas. On the night of June 5th, Darlie, Darren, and their sons were sitting in the family room to watch TV. At approximately 10:30 p.m., Darren carried their 3rd son, 7-month-old Drake, upstairs to put him to sleep. Devin and Damon, their other children, stayed with their mother. Darlie had opted to sleep downstairs that night, explaining that the baby had kept her awake the previous night, as Darren recalled. Then, shortly before 2:30 a.m., the unimaginable happened. On June 6, 1996, at 2:31 a.m., the 911 operators got a call from the Routier family's house. Darlie Routier told the operator that someone had broken into their home, stabbed her 6-year-old son Devin and her 5-year-old son Damon, and cut her throat. The police arrived at their house within 3 minutes of the 911 call. Darlie remembered waking up because her son, Damon, was shaking her and calling "Mommy." She sat up and saw a blurry figure leaving the utility room in her house. Darlie went to the kitchen and turned on the lights. That's when she noticed there was blood on her nightgown. As she walked further into the kitchen, she saw a knife on the utility room floor. She felt like she had to pick it up, almost like it was an instinct. When she returned to the kitchen, she put the knife on the counter. That's when she saw her son Devin lying across the room. He was on his back. His eyes were open and lifeless. Darlie couldn't control herself and started screaming. It was a mother's worst nightmare. Her innocent 6-year-old robbed of life. Darren, Darlie's husband, heard her scream and rushed down the stairs. They immediately called 911 for help. Sadly, their oldest son, Devin, was already dead when they made the call, while Damon's life was hanging by a thread. Darlie was also hurt. She had a deep cut on her neck that came very close to a major artery, but narrowly missed it. The Routier family was quickly taken to the hospital, but despite the efforts to save him, Damon tragically passed away shortly after arriving. The little soul was gone forever. While the Routiers tried to make sense of the harrowing tragedy, the police sealed off their house to begin their investigation. Now, here's when things start to get fishy. Jim Cron, a crime scene consultant with extensive experience, arrived at the scene early in the morning to investigate. He started with the possible point of entry, a slash garage window screen. Cron found this strange because it wasn't typical of burglars, as it had a T-shaped cut, making it difficult to get through. Inside the house, Cron raised questions about the intruder's actions. Why didn't the intruder take valuable jewelry from the kitchen counter? And why were the children harmed before the adults? He also found it odd that the murder weapon, an 8-inch butter knife, came from the Routier kitchen. Most murderers don't search for a weapon after entering a place. They do not enter a house empty-handed, do they? What's more bizarre is that during the 911 call, Darlie seemed overly concerned about her fingerprints on the knife, rather than her injured sons. Rowlett detective Jimmy Patterson noticed that Darlie couldn't provide a clear description of the attacker's face. Things were starting to get piled up against Darlie. However, some residents reported seeing a mysterious black sedan near the Routier house on the night of the murders, fueling fears of a dangerous killer on the loose. As the investigation continued, things started becoming clear, yet the findings continuously painted an unsettling picture. According to experts, there was no blood evidence on the edge of the couch where Darlie claimed to have sustained injuries while lying on it. Darlie said she chased the unknown intruder into the utility room, but there were no bloody footprints in the kitchen leading to the utility room. Detectives used a chemical called luminol to uncover hidden blood traces. They found a lot of blood in the sink, suggesting somebody had cleaned things up to hide their tracks. This raised a chilling possibility. Did Darlie harm her sons and then cut her own throat while standing over the sink? Over nearly a week, the police questioned Darren and Darlie multiple times. Darlie's story changed, including the intruder's location. But then again, wasn't she a mother who had just lost her sons? Perhaps the trauma she was going through made it difficult to remember the details. However, the investigators believed otherwise. She claimed the suspect escaped through the garage and backyard, but there was no evidence of someone climbing over the high backyard fence or exiting through the closed, difficult-to-open gate. However, detectives found a bloody sock in an alley 75 yards from the house, later proven to belong to the boys. Darlie believed it supported the intruder theory, but others saw it suspicious. Detectives also believed that Darlie staged the crime scene, overturning a vacuum cleaner and breaking a wine glass to make it seem like a struggle had occurred. Intriguingly, just 8 days after the crime, a news crew filmed Darlie and her family at a grave, celebrating what would have been Devin's 7th birthday. This behavior puzzled investigators and raised eyebrows. 11 days after the murders, the Rowlett Police Department arrested Darlie Routier. She faced capital murder charges related to the stabbing deaths of her sons. The question remained, was Darlie a loving mother or a cold-blooded murderer? During the trial, officers testified against Darlie that she didn't apply pressure to Damon's wounds despite instructions. Hospital nurses later testified that her behavior upon Damon's death didn't align with what one would expect from a mother. Additionally, there were inconsistencies in her story about the intruder. The prosecutors claimed that she was a callous mother who killed her children because with them, she couldn't maintain her lavish lifestyle. Ultimately, on February 4th, 1997, Darlie was found guilty of first-degree murder and was sentenced to death by lethal injection, putting an end to this confusing and tragic saga. Do you think the decision was right? Currently, Darlie Routier is incarcerated at the Mountain View Unit Prison in Gatesville, Texas, awaiting execution. She has consistently maintained her innocence, stating that the accusations against her are ridiculous and that she did not harm her children. Whether she is innocent or guilty remains a matter of debate and uncertainty. In 2011, Darren filed for divorce from Darlie, but he and their youngest son still believe that Darlie is innocent. Do you agree with them? Share your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see you in the next video.